Part 29. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 281. Yes, why should the Lin family? This problem is not only a problem for Su Xiao, but also a problem in the minds of the Lin family themselves. Since what happened during the day, the Lin family, including the Lin family's businesses, has been in turmoil. Countless people called to ask about Lin Jiangguo and Lin Jiarui. Even Kui Ziyufang at home received calls from a group of old sisters. Some people congratulate without knowing it, and some people are gloating about the misfortune. Why did the Lin family lose people? What happened to be missing was the most important one, Yingwan. Who knows, back then I thought she was just a little girl, and she would never be able to make waves no matter what. At most, she would be recognized as a girl after many years. Who would have known that the other party would grow up to be what he is today, a national academician, a world-class scientist, looked up to and worshipped by countless people. When Lin Jiangguo returned to the Lin family, his face was filled with a layer of deathly gray. His face was visibly ugly. Kui Ziyufang, who was usually arrogant and domineering, now knew that this was a big deal, and she didn't dare to say a word when she saw Lin Jiangguo's bad expression. Yu Wenzi was also silent. She called Su Xiao in the afternoon, but Lin Mei was not picked up. Su Xiao was also ridiculed. If Yu Wenzi called again, she would be blocked. She was angry but could do nothing. She wanted to go find Lin Mei. But after finding Lin Mei, what next? Just like Su Xiao said, if Yingwan doesn't come back, what else can they do? The Lin family's dinner table was deathly dull. No one dared to speak casually. Lin Baoxi was also shocked today. She just came home from outside and she saw such shocking news on the internet without thinking. Her sister, her second sister, is actually a world-class scientist. She was only 24 years old, and she had already reached a peak that countless people could not reach. She was too outstanding, so outstanding that it was unimaginable, and she stood in a place where countless people looked up to her. That's her second sister. At that moment, the last reliance in her heart completely collapsed. She finally knew what the Lin family had lost, and she was probably not even as good as a speck of dust in front of him. In the silent atmosphere at the dinner table, Lin Jiarui still spoke tremblingly, "Dad, can't we really let her return to the Lin family? It's okay that he didn't speak." Lin Jiangguo, who was eating well with a bowl, could no longer control his angry temper and threw the bowl directly towards Lin Jiarui with angry eyes. "Tell me, what's going on? What's going to happen to her? Yes, are you going to threaten her? If you don't even get close to her, you'll be killed by the people around her." The bowl hit Lin Jiarui's chest impartially, causing some pain. Lin Jiarui ducked and gritted his teeth in pain. Yu Wenzi was startled, and everyone was a little scared when faced with the furious Lin Jiangguo. Kui Ziyufang felt distressed when she saw her son being hit. She couldn't help but said, "This has nothing to do with Jiarui. Who knows about that dead girl? You're still talking." Lin Jiangguo turned his anger towards her. "It's all because of you, you damn old woman. Now you still dare to say, damn girl. Who do you call a damn girl? Do you know who she is? Do you understand what she is? What she said: you can make our Lin family disappear from Shuicheng. The good things you did were just raising them casually, but you still have the nerve to say it." Kui Ziyufang was scolded by him. Who knew that these things would happen? That's not her mother. She had to send Yingwan away in the first place because she was suffering from depression. She quickly shirks her responsibility. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 282. Yu Wenzi was stunned when she heard this. Lin Jiangguo knew that his wife was deflecting conflicts. She had always been like this. But so what? They seemed to have found a breakthrough and all aimed their firepower at Yu Wenzi. Lin Jiarui looked at Yu Wenzi bitterly, it's all because of you. Lin Jiangguo also pointed at her, what's the matter with pregnancy depression? How big of a problem can you give away the child? But now there are still these things, and you didn't go to pick her up in person at the beginning. Why do you dislike others? Kui Ziyufang also scolded her at the right time, yeah, there's nothing wrong with me. I've always been pretentious. Why did you throw away a good child? You're such a cruel mother. Yu Wenzi heard them pointing at her. Those words were like needlepoints piercing her heart. Her mind kept buzzing as she listened. All because of her? Is it because of her that I lost my child? It's all because of her. No one in Yingwan would have thought that now that he doesn't come back, all the responsibility will fall on him. Kui Ziyufang, the old woman, seemed to be in high spirits and chattered non-stop. Bao Jun too, a good child was forced to go abroad because of this matter, why don't you talk about it? It's funny, at that time they all targeted Yingwan. Now that Yingwan cannot afford to offend, the one who takes the blame becomes Yu Wenzi. Yu Wenzi was so angry that she had a headache. Now she couldn't help it anymore and screamed, is it my fault? Is it my fault? She pointed at Lin Jiarui and yelled, you have been messing around outside for more than 10 years. Do you think I don't know? Why do I tolerate it? I work so hard to have a son for you and your family. If it's not you, I'm suffering from depression. You looked down on me when I was born Lin Mei, and you seemed to want to strangle me to death when I was born late. It's obvious that I can't decide whether to have children, so why do you all blame me? She pointed at Kui Ziyufang again and scolded her like crazy, you shameless old thing, you were making irresponsible remarks when I was pregnant. If I couldn't conceive a boy, you seemed to want me to jump off a building, same thing. You also said that if I can't give birth to a son, I'll let Lin Jiarui marry another one. A grandson is so important to you, and the one who leads the family is so important to you. Yes, I threw Yingwan away, but I for whom? I was driven crazy by you. When I said I wanted to send her away, you didn't stop me. Now that she's not coming back, the responsibility falls on me. Are you crazy? Her tone was sharp, urgent, and angry. With this mouthful, years of grievances seemed to be vented at this moment. Yes, she has lived a good life for many years. That is because she is the wife of the Lin family. In the 1 or 2 years after marrying Lin Jiarui, how many looks did she receive because of her daughter? Time has eroded her former temperament, and she can't even remember what kind of person she is. She was used to being harsh on Yingwan and Lin Mei, used to being strong and blaming, just like the Lin family treated her. Now that retribution has come, these shameless people expect her to bear it alone. How can such a good thing happen? Kui Ziyufang became anxious when she was scolded, who are you talking about? Who forced you? Who forced you? Was it me who forced you to marry my son? Isn't it because you, a shameless thing, got pregnant out of wedlock? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 283. There is another secret thing. Yu Wenzi was pregnant out of wedlock. When I went to check, I thought it was my son. Otherwise, with Kui Ziyufang's temperament, it would not be so easy to let her in. Not only does she favor boys over girls, she also despises the poor and loves the rich. Yu Wenzi's family is still too ordinary. Of course she wants her son to marry a better one. But the raw rice became cooked rice, and Lin Jiarui really liked Yu Wenzi at that time. Yu Wenzi is also a bit greedy for money, otherwise she would not have married into the Lin family and would not let go of the Lin family. Everything she had was satisfied after giving birth to a child. She could have been her own noble wife. But now, a daughter has put everything on the table. The hatred and resentment she once had have now burst out. Upon hearing Kui Ziyufang's words, Yu Wenzi screamed and threw the bowl at Kui Ziyufang. Kui Ziyufang was too old to dodge and was hit in the face. She also screamed, just like how Yu Wenzi hit Lin Mei with a bowl. Lin Jiarui's eyes widened and he slapped Yu Wenzi on the face with his backhand. You actually hit my mother, you actually hit my mother. He slapped Yu Wenzi in the face and turned away. Lin Jiangguo was also a little shocked when he saw this scene. He didn't expect Yu Wenzi to get angry and completely deny her relatives. With a sullen face, he only said one sentence, "Bastard." Yu Wenzi was beaten so much that she collapsed on the chair, covered her face, and finally cried out in despair. Retribution is all retribution. She was greedy for wealth and honor, and she is destined to pay such a price today. After so many years, her attitude towards Lin Mei and Yingwan has changed, and she will never go back to the past. Kui Ziyufang fell to the ground and started howling, "You dirty thing, you actually hit me on my face, my face." Lin Jiarui hurriedly helped her up. "Mom, are you okay? I'll take you to the hospital." Lin Baoxi's face turned pale with fright, and she saw her father and mother having an argument. She was extremely frightened when she saw her grandma being beaten. At this time, he also looked at Yu Wenzi. Obviously things shouldn't be like this, but just because of my sister, why did it get to this point? Seeing Lin Jiarui looking at Yu Wenzi with hateful eyes, Lin Baoxi felt something was wrong. She hurried over and helped Yu Wenzi up. "Mom." She felt that the words spoken by her grandfather and grandma were too unpleasant. It was obvious to the naked eye in this family that they doted on their brother Lin Baojun the most. Why should they put the responsibility on her mother alone? Kui Ziyufang was still howling there, and wanted Lin Jiarui to beat Yu Wenzi. Yu Wenzi was crying and staring at Kui Ziyufang with red eyes, and finally covered her face and went upstairs. Lin Baoxi hesitated, still a little worried, and followed her mother. Kui Ziyufang saw this and howled on the ground, "They are all white-eyed wolves. They are all white-eyed wolves. They are not well raised. Jiarui, look at them. They are all about to be married. They are all white-eyed wolves. Please bring Baojun back, I only have such a good grandson." When she was still going to say something, Lin Jiangguo suddenly calmed down. "Jiarui, your mother is quite old, and the country is not suitable for her. Since you miss Baojun so much, send your mother abroad and let her accompany her. Take Baojun, don't come back." Kui Ziyufang suddenly became speechless. Lin Jiarui was a little shocked. "Dad." Lin Jiangguo looked at him gloomily, "You still don't understand that today, each of us has made mistakes. Becoming the richest by farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 284. The mistake was to throw Yingwan away. After saying this, he added, "There is a young master in the Si family who has issued a death order. I am worried that Baojun will mess around abroad, so why not let your mother watch over him? Kui Ziyufang only causes trouble, and her broken mouth makes her even more unreasonable. It is better to send her abroad to avoid causing bigger troubles." Lin Jiarui was still a little surprised. "This." Lin Jiangguo's face darkened, "Or you can go abroad with her." Unexpectedly, Kui Ziyufang wiped her non-existent tears and climbed up. "I'll go. I want to see Baojun." Her face was red from being hit by the cup just now, but the skin was not broken. Now it looked a little red and swollen. She turned her head and scolded Lin Jiarui, "If you stay in this house, I'm afraid your evil wife wants to kill me. Didn't you see how scary she looked at me just now, as if I killed her whole family? Our family has spent so much money for so many years, and raised a thing that doesn't know what's good for you. You still say that?" Lin Jiangguo was a little annoyed when he heard it. "Go pack up and leave early tomorrow morning." Kui Ziyufang also glared at him and went upstairs to pack up. "Damn old man, he was beaten by his daughter-in-law, and he just watched and didn't help. Lin Jiarui looked at Lin Jiangguo hesitantly. Dad, are you afraid that she will retaliate against the Lin family? Not really, otherwise she will have a hard time explaining herself. But if she doesn't retaliate, there are many people around her waiting to step on the Lin family. Thinking of what Si Lu said, Lin Jiangguo still shuddered. That person didn't follow the rules at all. He was ready to do anything, but it was a pity that the other party had everything figured out. Lin Baojun is the son of the Lin family, the lifeblood of the Lin family, and will inherit the Lin family business in the future. There's nothing we can do. Lin Jiarui looked downcast, a little distressed. Why is he such a powerful person? Half an hour after Lin Mei came here, Yingwan called. She's at the crew. Lin Mei was stunned for a moment. So fast? Yingwan said, it's driving fast. Are you still filming? Lin Mei said, yes, but if you want to come and have a look. I'm almost done, so it's okay to wait for a while, right? But if you're hungry, you can go to the place we booked and wait for me. Yingwan's voice was cold. It's okay, I'll just take a look. She hung up the phone, and Lin Mei quickly said to Su Xiao, Wan is coming. Su Xiao also said, I think it's almost time, hurry up. Lin Mei could only run to find Mao Shifeng. Director Mao, how long is the last scene? Mao Shifeng said, it's almost time, it's your turn soon. He looked at Lin Mei's hesitation. What's wrong? Lin Mei bit her lip. Today is my birthday, my sister came to celebrate my birthday, and now she's on the set. That's good, there's no need to rush to eat dinner now, it's almost over. Mao Shifeng nodded coldly. Let your sister watch, you can perform better, if you don't perform well, you'll be a disgrace to her. Lin Mei. What kind of devil is Director Mao? Others were dumbfounded when they heard Lin Mei's words. He just finished from Lawrence, and he came directly to Lin Mei, or to celebrate Lin Mei's birthday. Awesome. They also celebrated Lin Mei's birthday at noon, and asked why his sister was not there, but she went to Lawrence. She came at night? Everyone was looking forward to Yingwan, who was coming soon. Scientists came to the crew, and they even thought of the headline for the next day's news. I'd just ask for a monthly ticket, and I wish you all a happy viewing. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 285. Lin Mei knew Yingwan was coming, so she was a little nervous about filming. She started filming now, and while filming, she felt some unexpected movements from the crew. Glancing outside, she saw Yingwan coming. She was still wearing the simple outfit she wore to the Lawson seminar today, which was refreshing and neat. She was walking slowly towards her, and her eyes directly saw Lin Mei. Her eyes were obviously emotionless, but when she saw her, Lin Mei was distracted, and the current acting was naturally out of place. Ka-dash. Director Mao Shifeng called for a pause and looked at Lin Mei disapprovingly. Your sister is here, you should pay more attention. Lin Mei was a little embarrassed by what Mao Shifeng said, but she still paused for a moment and went over to greet Yingwan. You sit there and wait for a while, I'll be done soon. It must be said that the arrival of Yingwan, who was like the dean of teaching, still put a lot of pressure on her. Yingwan just nodded, and the people around her were whispering as they watched her, and no one dared to approach her. Just kidding, it's unrealistic for such a person to try to make friends. Didn't they see that she was followed by several bodyguards with obviously different postures? If they approached her, they were afraid that the bodyguards would take out something and put it on their heads. It's not without reason that they have a rich imagination. Many stars were going to leave after filming, but knowing that Yingwan was coming, they all looked hard at the script in the crew. This time Yingwan came, everyone couldn't help it. I really can't tell. The temperament is quite calm, but it's really hard to imagine. How can a person be so smart? A two-time winner of the Edgar Mathematics Award, my God. They were whispering, looking at Lin Mei and then at Yingwan from time to time. The main reason is that the gap is too big. Everyone was thinking, usually looking at Lin Mei didn't see any high level, how could a younger sister be so perverted? Such a pervert, actually still farming and peeling radishes in the countryside? Isn't this too magical? Yingwan is here. Su Xiao came back from the toilet and saw a different figure on the set. She came over and looked at Yingwan with a little excitement. Your sister will probably be here in about 10 minutes, don't worry. Yingwan nodded and said softly, I'm not in a hurry, she just needs to shoot well. This was her first time on the set. She wasn't too interested in the things around her, but she found it interesting. She watched Lin Mei immersed in the atmosphere of filming, trying to play herself as another person. Although there were many people from the crew around her, it was not too out of place. Su Xiao watched Yingwan staring at Lin Mei, and inadvertently said something nice to Lin Mei. Your sister is not very talented in acting, but she is willing to work hard in private. This time she suddenly got this opportunity, she was so happy, and she didn't know where she got such great luck. During this period of time, in addition to live streaming with you, she has been looking at the script every day. Fortunately, there are some effects, and director Mao also praised her once. This is a miracle, which is quite rare. Her words were testing. Probably just want to know whether the script of the world was pushed to Lin Mei by Yingwan. Yingwan just turned her head and glanced at Su Xiao, with a faint smile on the corner of her eye. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 286. Su Xiao said, you should be very busy today, I didn't expect you could come directly to celebrate her birthday. You have to do what you promised her, and what happens after the meeting is not important. Su Xiao. Only she dared to say that what happened after the meeting was not important. In other words, Yingwan should have turned down some things, and Su Xiao was really jealous. Once she got the Tao, Lin Mei ascended to heaven. When the people around saw that Su Xiao could talk to Yingwan as if nothing had happened, they were almost jealous. Lin Mei was popular in the circle, but not to such an outrageous extent. After all, the current first-line actresses are other people. Even if Lin Mei has a Lin family behind her, they have seen so many bloody things that happened to the Lin family recently, and they also think that Lin Mei is not much better. But she is still luckier than many people, at least she can be popular. But they didn't expect that she could be even more popular. She became popular by holding her thigh. They knew it just because Su Xiao kept receiving calls when he came to the set. Now everyone knows that Lin Mei's sister is Yingwan, so they have to try their best to curry favor with Lin Mei, the scientist's sister. Su Xiao is just Lin Mei's agent, but in other words, Su Xiao can also rely on Lin Mei to ascend, and now he can communicate with Yingwan naturally. How can they not feel jealous? Other agents are still thinking in their hearts, why can't they bring a star whose family has a big boss's sister? Unfortunately, there are so many people in the world, and it is not always good luck for me. Lin Mei also knows that Yingwan is watching her today, and she still has pressure. Fortunately, Mao Shifeng did not blame her too much later. It was just a simple shot and passed quickly. After the end, Lin Mei breathed a sigh of relief, packed up her things, changed her clothes and prepared to leave with Yingwan. Others did not dare to talk to Yingwan, so naturally someone came to Lin Mei. There have been several groups of people who came up to ask about Yingwan today. In the past, Lin Mei never felt that her popularity was so good. What's the point of just asking her? She didn't know anything yet. She was very cautious when hugging her sister's thigh. She didn't dare to do anything extra, otherwise what if she annoyed her? After changing her clothes, Lin Mei took a breath and walked to Yingwan, smiling, "Let's go, I've arranged a place to eat." The crew had already celebrated her birthday at noon today. She was going to have dinner with her sister in the evening, so naturally she didn't invite anyone else. Lin Mei didn't have many friends in the circle. Those she knew had their own things to do and had already called her to congratulate her. Yingwan nodded and said, "Get in my car." When Lin Mei came, there was a nanny car, but Yingwan would not take this kind of car. Because Suhan wanted to follow her, she naturally took her own car and left. Lin Mei responded, "Okay." Because they had to go to dinner, Su Xiao consciously didn't go and called his assistant Ziona, "Let's go back." Assistant Ziona was a little surprised, "Aren't we going with Sister Mai Mei?" Su Xiao looked at her with a smile and said, "Didn't we accompany her to celebrate her birthday at noon? The two sisters will have dinner alone in the evening, what are we going to do?" Ziona was shocked and could only nod with some regret. In previous years, Lin Mei would take them to dinner, after all, there weren't many acquaintances on her birthday. Xiao Na thought that this year would be the same, and she could still eat at the same table with Yingwan. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 287. But I didn't expect it was just a fantasy. She was also quite shocked when she saw the news online today. She didn't expect Yingwan to be such a powerful person. People in the circle knew that she was Lin Mei's assistant, and many people asked her for information. She had originally thought of taking the opportunity to take photos during dinner tonight. Su Xiao seemed to see her intention and said, "You have been with your sister Lin Mei for a long time. You know the limits of some things." She turned her head away after she said this. Ziona's heart skipped a beat. No, 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 I just thought that Sister Mei Mei would still have dinner with us this year." During the live broadcast of the program, Yingwan also looked easy to talk to. Su Xiao sneered and didn't speak. Lin Mei booked a place to celebrate her birthday. Although there were only two of them, Lin Mei was still very happy. After all, Yingwan came to celebrate her birthday in person. At the dinner table, she briefly talked about what happened to Lawrence today. Mainly, Lin Mei asked a few questions. Until Yingwan turned down the subsequent party for her birthday, Lin Mei instantly felt that her face was infinitely expanding in a limited space. How could it be so powerful? How could she have such an honor? Yingwan actually turned down a party to attend her birthday party. You have to know that there are a group of big guys at the Lawson seminar, and any one of them is something that Lin Mei can never catch up with in her life. At this moment, she felt that the glory on her face was about to blind others. The feeling of hugging a thigh one day is simply too good. In the middle of the meal, Lin Mei received a call, but her smile turned cold and she hung up the phone after a few words. It was not from the Lin family, but her shameless ex-boyfriend. He was real. Now that he knew that Lin Mei's sister was Yingwan, he called to say that he had broken up with Ye Ni and wanted to get back together with Lin Mei. He didn't mention Yingwan's affairs, but Lin Mei would be blind if she couldn't see the purpose. She only realized at this moment that this shameless man could do something even more shameless. Of course, she hung up his phone immediately and blocked all WeChat and phone calls to prevent him from harassing her further. Yingwan could see that Lin Mei's expression froze for a moment. She didn't ask anything, and Lin Mei couldn't tell Yingwan about these trivial matters. She would solve her own problems by herself. Lin Mei had been with her for so long and had learned some of Yingwan's personality. She could help herself, but she would never ask about unnecessary things, just as she never asked about Lin Mei's experience in the circle and her past in the Lin family. Lin Mei was very tactful and never complained in front of her. Was it necessary? Yingwan was Yingwan, and her status was indeed very powerful, even her sister. But Lin Mei also knew that she could probably get some special treatment from Yingwan, that is, her tactfulness and treating Yingwan as a relative. As for other things, once there were too many, it would be annoying. After being in the circle for so long, Lin Mei still had this ability to observe words and expressions. She soon started laughing again and chatted with Yingwan about some family matters. She didn't ask Yingwan about her things. The two chatted for a while. After dinner, Lin Mei went back to the hotel, which was near the crew. She had to shoot a scene early the next morning. As for Yingwan, of course, she returned to her home in the imperial capital. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 288. The reason why she didn't rush back was because she had to finish some things after attending Lawson. There must be a lot of people looking for her these days. When she returned home in the evening, she saw Xiao He at the door. When he saw Yingwan coming home, he wagged his tail at her, looking happy and happy. Yingwan touched its little head and smiled, obviously in a good mood today. She opened her phone and saw a lot of messages on it. Many people watched her speech today, and many people also had questions. She would have to reply to them one by one later. After all, the friends who could add her on WeChat were not simple friends. It was still a message from the laboratory. Yingwan was replying, and suddenly saw a message in her friend request. She clicked it and saw a simple avatar with a black background and a white cross. The white cross looked like a pure silver jewelry picture. The avatar was fine, the key was to know who it was by looking at the name. Law. It was a very simple word, law, and there was no explanation in the remarks. Was he sure that he would agree? Yingwan thought about it and sighed. The curve of her lips was a little faint, as if she found it a little funny. She sat in the study, next to a huge French window. She lived on a high floor, and could see the city view outside by tilting her head slightly. Only Xiao He was running around next to her, and she was watching alone here, and every tiny sound was particularly obvious. She opened her notebook, and it was more convenient to work on the notebook. After accepting Si Lu's friend request, Yingwan continued to reply to other people's WeChat. Si Lu probably found that she had passed the application, and quickly sent a message to Yingwan. Lu, teacher. With just two simple words, it seemed that he could imagine the look of him lowering his eyebrows and calling Yingwan over there. Yingwan. Si Lu couldn't help but chuckle when he saw her reply. He was lying on the bed, holding his mobile phone in one hand and resting his other hand on the back of his head, looking at the message on the mobile phone, typing with one hand while laughing. Lu, teacher, you even replied so briefly. I have to thank you for not rejecting my friend request. When Yingwan saw this message and was about to reply, Xiao He cried out and jumped onto a low glass coffee table next to him. There was a small cup on it. When he jumped onto it, Xiao He scratched the cup and broke it. A crisp sound of shattering sounded, and Yingwan immediately turned her head. Perhaps because he saw that he had done something wrong, Xiao He quickly jumped off the glass coffee table, half crouched there with his tail tucked in and his head lowered, staring at Yingwan with his eyes, as if he was a little scared. Yingwan walked over to clean up the cup and sighed, "You are a dog, not a cat, why are you jumping on the coffee table?" She found the cleaning tools and simply cleaned up the glass fragments. Then she lifted Xiao He's dog paw to check it to prevent it from being scratched by the fragments. After seeing that there was no wound on Xiao He's paw, Yingwan still scolded him, "Don't jump around. I will punish you next time." After saying that, she smiled again. Grabbing Xiao He's paw, he made it stand up and shook it. Xiao He saw that Yingwan was not angry, and his tail wagged even more happily. Si Lu waited for a long time but did not see Yingwan reply to his message. He thought that either Yingwan was too busy or Yingwan did not want to reply to his message. But Si Lu was inclined to the latter. Not even willing to reply to the message. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 289. To be honest, Si Lu was still a little unhappy. Who would be happy if they didn't get a response after sending a message? In the past, he would not reply to messages sent to him, but he didn't expect that now the situation has changed and it will always be his turn. Yingwan looked at Xiaohei and found that he replied after seeing Si Lu's message. Yingwan, well, no need. Just add a friend. When Si Lu saw her words, he could almost imagine her indifferent look on the other side of the phone, and laughed angrily. Lu, you will stay in the capital for a few days, it just so happens that I want to tell you something. Yingwan. Lu, picture. Lu, do you remember the last time you got drunk? You gave me a problem. Hard work pays off. I spent a little time and solved the problem. I asked Mr. Bruno for help. He still remembered this incident. The problem Yingwan gave was really complicated. Not to mention that he was not a math major, and it took him a lot of effort to solve it. Of course, he went directly to Bruno to get some tips, and the other party also gave some help. He was also very interested in Yingwan's questions. Otherwise, if he asked someone else, he would probably not be able to solve this question in his lifetime. Yingwan was drunk that day, and everything was a little vague. Suhan said this. She remembered that she had given Si Lu a question, but she didn't expect it to be this question. So much so that when she saw the picture sent by Si Lu, she could almost imagine Si Lu racking his brains for this question. But at least he could find Bruno to help him, so he could solve it so quickly. After seeing the answer, Yingwan sent more messages this time. Yingwan, it can be seen that you have some derivation. The previous steps should be Bruno's tips. The following steps are obviously redundant. 3 of the advantages of the cited theorems are complicated, but the answer can be calculated correctly, which is still good. Si Lu found this sentence even more funny. Who cares whether the theorem is complex or simple? Isn't it just to say a few more words to Yingwan? He also put a lot of thought into communicating with her. It's a pity that this woman is really stubborn. Thinking of this, Si Lu still feels a little itchy. Thinking back to the past, so many women were attracted by his face, his figure, and his money. Some people even used drugs to climb into his bed, but Si Lu didn't take the bait. When he was young, Si Lu was still a little noble. He felt that others were too superficial and could only see his appearance and didn't know how to really appreciate him. Although he didn't care about other people's appreciation. So when he met Yingwan, he felt that Yingwan was the one who really suited his appetite. Now it's retribution. He wishes Yingwan would just be attracted by his face and his person. He would rather Yingwan was a superficial person. Si Lu didn't regret doing something bold, but he was a little sorry that the plan didn't succeed. Facing a woman who didn't want his face, his figure, or his family background, especially when the other party was extremely smart. It was simply a world problem. So how to conquer him? Si Lu was trying hard to think of a way. Even if Yingwan doesn't like him now, it doesn't matter. As long as she doesn't get married and doesn't have someone she likes, she is the one with the most hope. So what if she gets married? Can't she still get divorced? Si Lu hooked his lips and continued the discussion on this topic. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 290. Lu, I would like to ask the teacher to answer. Normally Yingwan would be very interested, but it's a pity that she is absent-minded at the moment. While replying to other people's messages, he noticed Si Lu's contradiction. Yingwan, it doesn't matter whether you need to do this question or not. Are you free? Si Lu's expression remained unchanged. It's not idleness, it's my thirst for knowledge. Yingwan. She rested her elbows on the table, folded her palms, and put the back of her hands on her chin. She looked at the message bit by bit and felt that Si Lu was making her laugh. However, since the student is so curious about knowledge, she will help him. The next time Yingwan spent time with Si Lu, explaining knowledge points and various theorems, several of which Si Lu had never even learned at first. He suddenly felt like he had shot himself in the foot. But it doesn't matter, as long as he can chat and the conversation is about learning knowledge, he can tolerate it. Otherwise, Si Lu is a ruthless person. It doesn't matter if he hasn't studied or watched it, at least he has foreign aid. Just like this back and forth, Yingwan chatted with him sentence by sentence, and the hour passed. During this period, the internet was not completely quiet. Today's Lorson incident really shocked people. After the official conclusion in the afternoon, the website published a condensed version of Lorson online. There was also a separate cut version for each big boss's speech, especially "It should be late. It doesn't matter if you don't understand, we will explain it for you." For example, the big guy said, "When did this formula appear and who proved it? It doesn't matter if you don't understand it. You just need to know how it appeared and what key points it belongs to in mathematics." However, netizens were very disrespectful. "Damn it, you can't understand it in the first place, so why torture people?" The most shocking thing is probably that Yingwan's identity was revealed. When the live broadcast just started, some people saw Hatton Guanbo and King Bei Guanbo sliding their hands to check in on Kea Hua. At that time, the official blog also clarified that this was not a slippery hand, and the person clearly did it on purpose. What's even more amazing is that, probably thinking that the matter has been officially made public today, and that everything has been lost anyway, Hatton's official blog forwarded a video of Yingwan's speech, with the message "Call Professor Ying." It also proved that Yingwan's identity was indeed Hatton's honorary professor. Otherwise, an originally serious official blog could be so wasteful? This makes people even more desperate. "So I graduated from King Bei at the age of 9 and became a professor at the age of 13. Is this true? Don't most people first learn knowledge and then transform from students? Why did she just teach it directly? Oh my God, how can there be such an awesome person in the world?" He reached the pinnacle of his life at the age of 24. Then the question is, why have I never heard of such an awesome professor before, and why did he even participate in the live broadcast? Is it crazy to say in the comments that people want to be popular? Do you know how much one of her patents costs? If such a person wants to be popular and posts random messages, netizens will have to kneel down and lick her. Look at the current comments. Are there still fewer people licking her? Don't be arrogant when speaking. It's a fact that people are awesome. This can no longer be described as awesome. This is simply a unique god. He must be reincarnated as a god.